I'm Thelma Craig, and
You're our 2015 Living Portrait winner.
yes,
Yeah, you're one.
I was telling the ladies that receiving the Living Portrait Award for the National Council of Negro Women was really just, I was so honored because I grew up in Florida, and probably 45 minutes from Daytona, where Mary McLeod Bethune was from. And so I grew up, that's the only black history we were given, in school, but our families told us about Miss Bethune. And so I was just honored to receive that this time in my life because she was at my hero. She was all I was taught. And so when I was older and had my own daughter, I taught her about Mary McLeod Bethune, and she had an assignment at school where she had to become a character that she admired, and she became Mary McLeod Bethune. I dusted her hair with flour. She had on a black dress with the white collar with polka dots, and she had her cane, and she knew her so well she can really get into her character. But so I just really, she's on pictures or art in my house. She's in my office at work. She is really was my hero, especially growing up. We didn't have those heroes, and she was one that was instilled in me and I was told about. So I passed her on to my daughter. So to receive that award, Living Portrait, I just thought that was just unbelievable. I was so excited. I screamed and I cried. I was like, come here. And I'm thousands of miles from home living here in Colorado, coming from Florida. So I was so honored. Like I said, she was a hero. And she was really seen as this powerful, in Florida, this, just powerful woman, just tall and, and just really statuesque and just highly spoken of in Florida as kids. It was just amazing to have her as our hero because they just didn't teach us black history, or they didn't teach us about black heroes or sheroes. And so just to have that woman from Florida and that we learned about her, it was just powerful to me.
That's awesome.
I'm Michelle Wheeler, and I've grown up in Denver for, since I was a kid. I was born in Chicago, but my parents moved here when I was a year old. So, I'm really kind of a Denverite in my mind. But every once in a while, when it's advantageous, I say, yeah, I'm from Chi-Town. Like my boyfriend's from Chicago, so, that kind of helps a little bit. And I still have relatives there, so, yeah. I also received one of the awards, but mine was in 2013. And when I was nominated, I was really kind of surprised because unlike Thelma, and when I went to school, we didn't have black history that I recall, period. So I really wasn't sure who Mary McLeod Bethune was. So when I was nominated for the award, I had to go into the website and I had to go into my encyclopedias. Yes, I still have encyclopedias at home. Yeah, to actually get a background and an understanding and some history about who this woman was. And the photographs that I've seen of her remind me so much of my great-great-great-grandmother, except my great-great-great-grandmother was fair skinned. But, the photographs that I've seen of her, she's about my complexion, dark skin. But they look so much alike. And the same thing that you just said about her strength and her ability to teach students and be in civil rights and do all the things that she did reminded me of the statuesqueness that you mentioned of my great-great-grandmother, because those are some of the things that I got from some of my relatives I do a family history book, and so those are some of the things that they said about her, how she worked out in the field and she, had the mule and they, plowed the ground to put the seeds in and all this kind of stuff, and then she'd come in and cook for my great-great-grandfather. And I'm like, how did people do that back in? I guess you do what you have to do. And that's what I think all of us women do. We do what we have to do, running for office, whatever. If you believe in it, you do what you have to do. So I was also equally honored to receive the award, and I have it hanging in my office, and I have it on my resume, and I'm really, and I worried you to death about, did I get the award or not? What's going on? So I was really excited and really blessed to have gotten it. So I appreciate the committee for selecting me.
And I just have to follow that. My name is Carolyn Love, and I am 2014 recipient of the Living Portraits. But the reason why I reacted the way that I did is I'm from Gary, Indiana. And my mother was born and raised in Mound Bayou, Mississippi. And my mother, and Sylvia is aware of this because with Sylvia, you know, she's been active with Ncnw for years, years. And I could just remember when I first met Sylvia, I think it may have even been when Stephanie was the president. We were doing the leadership conference. We were at the Stern School of Law over on DU's campus, and I used to facilitate some of the workshops and stuff there. And Sylvia said, "You need to become a member." I said, "I know." My mother was a member of Ncnw, so I was familiar with the organization, familiar with Mary McLeod Bethune and everything, but I just had never joined the organization. And every time I think I saw Sylvia in her connection with the organization, I said, okay, this is going to be the year, I'm going to join. And then when I got the Living Portraits Award, I, like you and like everyone, was just so honored to have received that award. And it just, something in my spirit said, now is the time. Because I think the world right now needs Ncnw.
Oh, yeah.
I believe that with all of the discourse in our country around the treatment of women, women of color, in the field of education, politics, the criminal justice system, healthcare, disparities actually exist. And when you look at our history as an organization, we've been an organization that just dove into the middle of things and not only ran programs, but because Mary McLeod Bethune was who she was, she changed policy. She influenced policy for the welfare of people. So the timing just seemed like it was right for me to finally join. But I'm second generation of Ncnw member.
Wow, that's great.
I'm Rosalind Reese, and I'm a product of this neighborhood, actually. Grew up on 31st and High Street, and just, embraced the culture and the experience here in Denver, Colorado, and always knowing about the National Council of Negro Women, admiring the true legacy that Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune has just birthed, and continues to live on here 80 years later, which is amazing to me. And the fact that Dr. Dorothy Height was such the astounding leader that she was for so many years, and embracing the mission. So for me, I was just totally honored. First and foremost, thank you, Sylvia, for nominating me. I really do appreciate that, and certainly just trying to live out the true values of what the organization exhibits. I have 3 daughters, and I always encourage them to listen, think, and learn. And that was, something I would tell them every day when they would go off to school: listen, think, and learn. And when I look at the values of the organization and the mission to be committed, to be unified, to embrace your community, and to have self-reliance, and certainly first and foremost, putting God first in all of that. But just truly honored to be a part of it, and thank you to all of the sheroes around this table, because I'm thankful because I have a connection to all of you in some profound way, and I just look forward to what we can continue to do as an organization. So I'm committed today and tomorrow, and I encourage my girls to be committed too. Thank you.
Sylvia Smith Brown, I think people are.
Yes. It's time, Sylvia. It's time.
I'm probably one of the longest serving members, really.
Ncnw.
I'm saying the Denver chapter that has been pretty much active, and that's over 21 years now. Because Elbert Wedgeworth recruited me in 1994 to the organization. And, I didn't quite know what I was getting myself into. And it turned out to be, I think I might have ended up doing the first Harambe could have been what I was doing. And at that time, we used to do Harambe. We used to have 500 people in a room. And that was tough to do. But we would, when I was early on, we were doing 500 at our annual Harambe brunch. And that is tough. For 3-4 years, I think we did it with 500 people. And then, and I think back on when you're saying it's the timing of the organization, and it's in some ways the word for me timeless about her motto of the way Dr. Bethune lived and what she spoke about, especially with the each one teach one, each one sort of reach one. I mean, and that has just proven to be over and over and over and over again something that you take one and you bring them forward, right? And I think for NCNW, the National Council of Negro Women in Denver section, what I've always connected and been proud of is that it is an organization, not only is an organization of all women's organizations, but it's an organization of taking those individuals in the community, have been doing tons of work, but don't get recognized for it. And that is what is one of the most important things that I find about that organization that keeps me connected to it. That there's folks that I know that are out there doing work, don't want recognition, don't have a title behind their name, don't have real credentials in some instances sometimes, and they feel, but they too deserve to be recognized. And that is the spirit in which we do the living portraits annually. We've been doing that now for, as long as I've been with the organization. We do that in conjunction with Denver Public Library. Also, not having been close to grandparents growing up, having met individuals that were clearly part of this organization long before I ever joined it. And that's Mrs. Marion Ellerby and her sister, Mrs. Rose Martin, and Versia Mitchell, who's passed on. Mrs. Marion Ellerby, we lost her a couple of years ago. Lenore Darden, we just lost Loretta Stevens, just a couple months ago, Mrs. Stevens. But we've had so many women that have been engaged in the organization that this was the organization to be. And for them, I was honored to have known them. We had the chance to meet Dr. Height, and she came out and met these women. And so it continues, and it is a viable and important organization, and the mission still stays true today. So.
Hi, my name is Valerie Yarbrough, and I was a living portrait honored in 2014. What I like about the organization is that it's an advocate for women and girls and people of color through education, public policy, and giving back to the community. And as Sylvia spoke on that, it's one of the organizations that is taking a deeper thought or process to kind of acknowledge a variety of people in the community who are giving back versus the status quo that we always see. So that's one of the things, and I'm giving back now because they believed in me and honored me, so I like to pass the baton and work for them. So that's why I'm getting involved in the organization right now.
Excellent. Yay.